Kayla, and on this channel I like to talk about all things fashion, vintage fashion, vintage crafts, vintage sewing. I like to talk about make, do, and mend. And today is kind of an impromptu video. I have no makeup on and I have just set my hair. I am going in and out of sunshine because it's behind me, so the lighting is going to be crazy. Like I said, this is going to be like totally impromptu, and you may see, hear anything from this toddler. Mickey. Mickey. She's wearing a Mickey Mouse sweater. I am currently trying to finish a summer project that officially fall is officially on Sunday. So I have till Sunday to finish this sundress. I have one other thing that it's kind of like an idea still. It hasn't been cut, but it's white. So it needs to be in my summer projects. And technically I started a swimsuit and I just haven't finished it. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it because I lost steam upon that project. I'm kind of losing, oops, there goes my camera because of my toddler. I have so much gathering to do on this project. So I'm making the boardwalk dress from the Gertie Patreon. It's so pretty. It was inspired by Marilyn Monroe. I am not doing a Marilyn Monroe version though. So it's kind of a secret until I reveal it, but it is inspired by one of my passions. So I'm very excited to finish it. Me and my boyfriend were working on it this weekend, and now I'm just gathering. So anyways, like I was saying, I have a lot of gathering to do on this skirt. I am currently putting in the gathering stitches on my, turn it back on my white layer. Each layer is, well, not each layer, but it's going to be pink and white. And while I'm doing all of this, I'm just thinking about like sustainability and history and all kinds of things like to have to do with that. So anyways, like I was saying, I am working on the boardwalk skirt. I'm putting in gathering stitches on one of the layers, and I attempted to use a ruffler foot. I have my pink atlas back here. It was given to me with a griced ruffler foot. I cannot for the life of me get that thing to work. That is a straight stitch only machine. I am currently working on Patsy, which is my 1950s Kenmore. She is also pink. She's just more of a dusty rose. And she does zigzags and she's a high shank. So I tried it on this machine. Could not get it to work for the life of me. I have several other vintage machines. Tried to work it on those. It just doesn't, it's maybe a user error. It's not working for me. So I am going to be hand gathering this skirt. And since I'm doing that, I figured I would talk because I have so much things on my mind that I haven't gotten to rant about lately. Anyways, I have lots of thoughts and I haven't ranted in a while about sustainability and history. And mainly these things are coming up in my mind because my daughter will be going to homecoming in a couple of weeks. And I was either going to make her a dress or I was going to source a existing dress, just because that's like what we do here. I rarely buy new things. Okay, so Sorry, life with a toddler and trying to film has been really crazy. That's why I don't film as often as I would like to. It's just not very easy. She runs my whole life, which is fine with me. A short break while I handle my toddler. Here's some video of me creating gathering stitches. Like I said, my ruffler foot I could not get to work, and so in my sewing group they reminded me about this little hack, which is a zigzag stitch over a very thick thread or cord. I forgot all about this hack, and I went and found my thick cord and got to zigzagging on my 1950s Kenmore. Her name is Patsy, like Patsy Cline. So me and my daughter are trying to find a homecoming dress. I was going to make something, but in the amount of time and with the projects I currently have going, which I would totally stop if she would decide on what she wanted me to make, we're just thinking of sourcing a dress. So I've been looking at vintage. We're going to go thrifting. It's going to be really fun. I love her spirit about things like that, because even for school shopping, we went to the local Salvation Army. They had a $2 sale, and that day every clothing item in the store was $2. I will not shop on Shein or any fast fashion stores. And so when we went, like I said before, the thrift stores are filled with Shein and fast fashion. So I told her that even if there was something there that was from Shein, we would buy it, because at least it would be getting used for school, when these people are just literally doing $1,000 hauls and throwing all the clothes away. Like, it's doing something good. I have a rant about Shein anyway, but I'm not going to go into it. So we're sourcing a homecoming dress, and I would like it to be close to vintage, just because pre-90s is just better materials, better made. But yeah, we're gonna go thrifting and everything this weekend, and it got me thinking just about like sustainability and family and heirlooms. So when I'm sewing, I'm thinking about heirlooms. When I diapered my child, I did cloth diapering, because you can literally reuse them, clean them, and use them for the next child. So it's safer for the planet, and it's also beneficial for your next generation or your next, go round in whatever you're doing. I also, when I had Ella, which is my toddler, I sourced vintage things that I knew I could keep as heirlooms for the next generation. We have a vintage high chair that is metal. It could be used for my grandchildren. I have a vintage stroller. It is metal. It is not plastic. It is going to live through all of my children's children. It can, because it has already. It was from the 50s. So these things are already existing. They already exist. Why not use those things? Why not source those things? Even if you spend a little bit more, I'm thrifty, so I don't like to spend a ton of money. Even on my vintage, I will look for the best deals that I can find for what I want. My sewing machines, I have plenty of vintage sewing machines, but they're metal. They are mechanical. They will live through my great-grandchildren's and beyond. These skills that I have, I will be teaching to my family so that they could teach to their family, so that we can live a more sustainable life, if that makes sense. So back in the day, and I mean this goes way past Victorian ages and stuff, fast fashion didn't exist. It was literally handmade for your body. Secondhand clothes existed since beyond time, because people couldn't afford to have someone making these dresses for them or these clothing for them Hand-me-downs is called hand-me-downs for a reason. You had 5 children, guess what? You have that many levels of clothing that your children can go through. It was more sustainable back then to have more children because of the help you can have on the farm. And there's just so many levels. There's so many levels I could go on. And I don't have a script written out for this. This is literally a rant on a Monday morning by a mother who is sewing and thinking about getting a homecoming dress. So, basically, like back in the day, you would get married and you would get your, grandmother's or, whoever recently passed away, their household items to furnish your new home if you were, so lucky to get a new home. Or you would live in a family home. Those were heirlooms. Those were the things that we handed down. Nowadays, it's almost frowned upon to get old furniture, even though older furniture was made to last. It's real wood. It is not composite board. It is already, like, my chairs are metal. They're vinyl covered, but I tape them back together. It's not that big of a deal. My table is wood and metal framed. My parents have a Formica table. Like, these are things that live already and already lived before us. So why not utilize the things that already exist instead of continually using fast fashion? And when I say fast fashion, they're doing it with furniture too. It's fast furniture too. It is not sustainable in the world. There's more stuff. And I mean, like, in general, stuff, junk, than there are human beings in the world. So there is definitely enough stuff to take care of generations and generations of human beings. But people keep producing because of capitalism and consumer. I didn't think it'd be this hard to film something like this, but it's okay. I really just want to talk while I'm sewing. But I don't know where I left off because my toddler needed a snack. But what I was saying was, like, we inherited things from our family members, and that was a good way to get things started. But nowadays, everyone just buys things brand new, and it's almost frowned upon that if you can't afford something, or if you don't have the latest designer, whatever, it's almost frowned upon. Or if you are buying vintage and you are buying stuff like that, if you're not buying like the top vintage or supporting resellers, or if you're, not going to the most popular vintage stores, everything is a competition, and everything's a competition nowadays because of social media. When back in the day, none of that stuff even mattered. Like, as long as you were living a good, happy life, it didn't matter where you got it or what you did it from. Sure, some things, like, I feel like even back in the day, you wouldn't want to admit your clothes were either handmade or secondhand. That would be like probably around the 50s, because new things were available and more families were able to buy those new things. But I know, like, when I was growing up, it was frowned upon. Like, we were very poor and we didn't have any designer, anything. And when I mean designer, I don't mean like Louis Vuitton. I mean, like, I couldn't afford Vans shoes. We couldn't afford name brand shoes or anything like that. And I went to a school where that kind of mattered. Like, you were supposed to have at least name brand shoes, but we couldn't afford it. And I still remember, like, the one Christmas, like the first Christmas that my parents could afford to buy us something name brand, and they were so happy to be able to do that. Nowadays, I am pretty honest about finances with my children and what we can and can't afford and what just can and can't happen. And buying a brand new homecoming dress may be frowned upon by some other people, but it just isn't in the cards. So it's either made out of the fabric that I already have, or I could source some fabric that would work, or we source the dress secondhand. That's just how it's gonna work. And I don't have a problem with that. My daughters don't have a problem with that. And the funny thing is, more than likely, she will look the most unique and the cutest because she won't have something off of Shein that is trending that everyone else has. So the other thing about that was when I went to school, people had a unique style and nobody looked the same. There was groups of children, like the goth kids, the punk kids, the skater kids, the jocks, the cheerleaders, like the ballers. All these things were like a fashion thing in high school. And nowadays, everyone looks the same walking into my daughter's high school. Like everyone looks the same. There's no like individuality, which is sad because it makes me sad to think that that is gone and that those kids just aren't going to experience that. Anyways, my daughter has a lot of uniqueness. I homeschooled her for 4 years, so I think I instilled a lot of uniqueness in her, and I just want her to have a great time and not worry about anything. Like, kids shouldn't have to worry about anything. I'm a mom. I should worry about those things. Now that I'm an adult, I could realize how much my mom was actually worrying about things. But anyway, on to sustainability and back to sustainability. I feel like with the state of the economy and the way things are going, I feel like having a hand-me-down home or hand-me-down furniture or secondhand clothes, secondhand furniture shouldn't be frowned upon and shouldn't be kind of like yucked, because even though like some people can't afford brand new furniture every other year, which I really don't, that is so ridiculous to me. Like it is horribly, that's horrible for the planet if you're doing that. But also just like in general, it's more sustainable and it's better for like the future generations to keep these awesome heirloom pieces in the family because they could use those. Everything comes back around. Fashion comes back around. And it can be refashioned into something very nice. Furniture styles come back around. So why not just keep things in the family and let it be passed down as an heirloom? Like I own something from my grandmother. Like one day my great grandkids are going to be like, this was my great grandmother's sewing machine. I hope that I haven't created such materialistic children as to teach their children not to appreciate heirlooms. I doubt, because the one thing that my parents did teach us was to appreciate every single thing that we got and every single thing that we had. And I teach my children the same exact thing. Gratitude and appreciation. So anyways, I was just thinking about all that on my morning of necessary ruffling. I don't understand where the world is going and where we're going to be, but if I could create a space of peace and a space for people to not feel alone, if you can't afford certain things, like I can't afford a brand new machine, like a sewing machine. I just can't afford anything electronic right now. We don't have computers or tablets. We barely have Wi-Fi to make things work. But those things are okay with me. Like, and it's okay with my family. We live in a way that that stuff's not necessary for us. You know, the things that are necessary are electricity. Obviously, we need electricity, gas. We have all that. Water. We have all that. Food. You know, we're getting there. Like, we got it. And each other. Like, that's the most important thing. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that people are important. And it's important to have relationships. And it's important to have friendships. And it's important to hug each other and be there for one another. And the world is kind of creating the concept of you don't need anybody, but you really do. We need each other. So I guess this is a PSA to hand down things, to save things, to not buy into the social media. I need to keep up with the Joneses. I need the next best thing. You know, even vehicles could be handed down. I had a hand-me-down car when I've only ever owned one new car in my life. Other than that, it's always been a used vehicle or a hand-me-down vehicle. And I have no problem with that. My daughter will have a hand-me-down vehicle because I cannot afford a new vehicle. And in my life, I don't think I'll ever have a brand new car ever again. I'm 36. I don't see myself having a brand new car ever again. And that's okay with me too. So I just wanted to say, if you're at in a place where you're kind of looking and being like, I don't have everything that these people online have, and I need the next best thing, the next best phone, the next best this. It's only the highlight reels that are telling you that you need those things. You don't need any of that stuff to survive. Now, hobbies, I feel like everyone should have one. They really help your mental health. I have hobbies and I feel like they help my mental health. And the cool thing about sewing is I do hair. So my clients literally give me machines and they literally give me fabric because they learn that this is my hobby. And some of them are older gals that used to be their hobby, but they can't do it anymore for whatever reason. And they have just donated fabric to me. So things keep going. When you tell other people that you're into this stuff, they're like, oh, guess what? I have like a sewing machine. Would you like it? And then you could be like, yeah, I would like it. Like, hey. So I just wanted to get into that, kind of talk about like, you don't need the next new thing. If you're lucky enough to live in a home, and even if someone gave you a couch, that is a blessing in itself. And not everything that's brand new is well made. You're kind of seeing that nowadays. Everything is disposable, where is it all going to go? Where is it going to go? Because there's not enough room on this planet to keep all that trash. And clothing is already in the ocean. The clothing is made out of polyester, which is plastic. It's going into the oceans. It's breaking apart. It's going into your skin. There's so many things to think about when you could already be using things that just exist. If more people got that mindset in using and purchasing things that already exist and already existed before the new stuff, they wouldn't have a reason to be making all this new stuff. There's enough for everyone. Trust me. I don't know. I really hope this helped somebody, or maybe it's just falling on deaf ears, but it means a lot to me to get it out and just kind of wonder what else is going on in the world. I'll see you guys after I make my dress with hopefully everything I made this summer.